Let's go over some nerd numbers here. Welcome everyone to my builder's call. Let's get rocking. That was a great activity call on recruiting. Andy, Brant Swindell, Michael Owens. Pretty good stuff right there. Okay, I covered this in Cincinnati last night. Just because I had the question, Patrick had prompted me to kind of cover the numbers. The numbers be the numbers. And so I've done several videos on this over the years about how predictable the numbers are and why you shouldn't be afraid to recruit. In fact, you should recruit. You should build your agency just because people are people and human nature is human nature. Okay. I think I summed up last night with this. Why not build an awesome business that you can plug people into a system that will help them grow, help the right people grow, and the ones that don't, won't. It's like the parable of the seed, the sower and the seed. You know, the seed that fell on rock, you know, they didn't make it. The one fell on shallow ground didn't make it. The one that got in the weeds didn't make it. But the ones that fell on fertile soil, they're the ones that made it. It's a 25% proposition. Now, does the farmer go directly to the fertile soil and just drops the seed there? No, the farmer he's just sowing his seed, sowing the seed. Wherever it falls, it falls. You know, he doesn't spend the time to examine the soil or the rock or how shallow it is or if there are weeds in it. He sows the seed. It's faster for him to sow the seed, right? He prepares the ground best he can, but he sows the seed, and then the seed falls where it falls. And then the ones that come up are the ones that he harvests, right? The ones that don't come up, don't come up, okay? It's a statistical proposition. It's in the Bible. So really the theme of this talk is it's the sower and the seed. So what are the numbers? What are the numbers on how predictable the business is? And so I had put together my leaderboard for December for my hierarchy. Okay, so I track this every so this is as of the 28th of December. So we're missing 2 months or 3 days in December of production. So this is just a tad bit short of what it should be for the entire month, but this actually just measures by production week. So there are 4 production weeks in the month of December measured, you know, from Thursday to Wednesday, and then what's added in there from promotion guideline standpoint are the calendar months, you know, of production. So, so this just really kind of measures the production months in the month of December. Okay, so this is from a hierarchy. So we did a total of 648,728.42 in Maharkey production. All right, that is 164 unique writing agents. All right, 755 applications. Okay, so kind of the numbers that fall from that, if you want to measure, I like to measure the metrics, and I'll write what these are, and I'll tell you kind of what we experience every month. So the average premium per app is $859.24. Okay. The average premium per unique writing agent is 988.92. The average number of apps per unique writing agent, this is per week, is 1.2. So I divided by 4 weeks. So these are per week numbers for the average premium per unique writing agent per week. So, I divided these numbers by the 4 production weeks. And when you see my base shop numbers, gang, every week it's consistent. Average premium per app, right around $800-900 per application. We're talking physical application. Average premium per unique writing agent, it's about $1,000, right? Average apps per unique writing agent per week, 1.2, all right? And actually, here's the number on here that you're not seeing is because I don't have these numbers. It's like per home closed. So the average number of apps per home closed is usually running about, okay, so this is not from these numbers, but it's from my measurement of my own base shop in terms of how many leads were closed, right? So it's usually about 1.3 apps per home. Okay, that's just years and years. I've been measuring these numbers for 18 years, literally 18 years. I've been measuring these exact numbers. I used to have these numbers when NAA used to publish the entire leaderboards. I used to do it for the entire company. And then when Indeed got rid of leaderboards, I just had it for my own hierarchy. And so what's interesting is that my hierarchy always mirrored the entire population of the Alliance. So for those of you statistical nerds out there, remember in statistics that if you had a large enough sample of the population, you can analyze the statistics of that sample and infer the numbers to the population. Well, they always said that was true in statistics class, right? But so they just told us that. Well, I got a chance when I had access to all of NAA numbers to establish that is true, that my hierarchy, when I analyzed statistics, totally reflected the entire Alliance numbers. So from a statistical perspective, that is right on, okay? So it's kind of cool to confirm what I learned in stats class. I took multiple stats. I was an economics master's degree, so I was really quantitative oriented. So all you nerdy engineers, so if you're not a nerdy engineer, don't worry. I'm going to get to the point quickly. But so here's the thing. Why do we always talk about $1,000 per home close? It's because that's what it works out to be. When you multiply 1.3 times 859.24, the average premium per home, let me get to my calculator, 859.24 times 1.3, that's 1117. 117 average premium per home. So when we show the plan, when we talk about the average house will pay about $84 a month, it is lowball, but it's true. It's more like 1,100, like nationwide. It really is more like 11. It's more like 1,100. So we already have a 10% fudge factor to, the numbers are realistic. All right. So week after week in my base shop, these numbers are right on. It just is like this. So number one, the business is statistical. So the point I was making last night in Cincinnati is that people are predictable in large numbers, but people are unpredictable individually. Do you see how it works? In other words, I don't know what you're going to do, but you know what? I really don't care what you do because I know that the whole group of you will do. I know what the group of you are going to do in this business. I don't know what each individual is going to do. And what's interesting is that every week it might be a different individual, but statistically the numbers are the same, right? In other words, I know how many people are going to produce what. I just know whose name is going to be beside the number. Is that weird or what? Okay, so let me show you how that's true in my business for the month of December, doing 648,000. Okay, and so let's measure it by production category. Okay, so I always have broken it down like this. So how many people in my business did over 20,000 of production? So this is the number of agents, and then this is the percent of agents relative to this 164 unique writing agent number. And then the next category, and I just followed it by promotion guidelines, 15,000 to 20,000. Okay, know that it's mutually exclusive. In other words, that's more like 19,999. Okay, so, okay, but just for the purposes of labeling, I'll just make it easy. 10K to 15K. 5K to 10K, 10,000. And then how many people did 5,000 and below? Okay. So I have I did this last night. I didn't prepare it. I didn't write these numbers down. So I'm going to do the raw counts right now. Okay, so let me give you kind of my experience over 18 years, what these numbers tend to be. Okay, so I'll do it in advance. So this number tends to be 2 to 3%. This number tends to be about 3 to 5%. Okay, this number is somewhere in the 7 to 9% range. This number is the 12 to 14% range, and this one's anywhere from 70 to 75%. Okay, 18 years of doing this, gang. This is where these numbers hover. Okay, and it'll go up or down by maybe a percentage point or two. Actually, when I measure the standard deviation of the percentages, these numbers here, these four top numbers are about 1% or less. This number tends to be maybe 2 to 3% standard deviation, which, because it's a larger percentage, that tends to kind of fall. So those you statistical nerds, standard deviation is just how the numbers vary from the mean, right? Basically, I'm telling you that it doesn't vary very much. It doesn't vary very much. I think I said that right. Okay, so I'm going to count how many did over 20,000 in my hierarchy, 20,000 and above. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 5 that did over 20. Okay, now how many did 15 to 20? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4. How many did 10 to 15? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Now 5 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay. And so let's add that up, and then we'll figure out who did below 5,000. So 5 plus 4 plus 8 plus 21, okay, equals 38. So minus 164. So I got 126. So in my hierarchy of the people that wrote that much business of 164, these are the numbers that did in these production categories, all mutually exclusive. So let's take the percentage. So 5 divided by 164, 3%. 4 divided by 164 is 2.4%. By the way, okay, so let me explain the effect that you see right here. We had a lot more people in December trying to make the trip. So what you tend to see in December are the ones that are pushing to make the trip. So you're going to see maybe a little bit more motivation, which is kind of interesting how people are motivated. They wait till the last minute, right? Okay, so 10 to 15. So let's take 8 divided by 164. That's 4.9%. And then 21 divided by 164, 12.8%. And then below 5,000, 126 divided by 164. That's 76.8%. Okay. So those are the raw numbers. So what you see, so let me explain how December always seems to be. December, you're going to have people that move up in these categories because they're trying to make the trip. In other words, they tend to be the people that are, the trip was 90,000 this year. So the people that were in here consistently every month were the ones that are getting close to 90,000. So they pushed a little bit more. That's why you see maybe this effect of this being lower than what I usually see. And this is being maybe right on. This is lower because these people moved up into this category. And then what you also see in December are the people that slack off in December because it's December. They don't think they can sell. They don't want to make extra phone calls to book appointments. So you see the numbers here go down here. Okay, so I can explain these numbers. I got my master's economics. So as an analyst, that's how I would determine why the numbers are off from what they typically are. But here's the beautiful thing. The numbers be the numbers. Okay, the numbers be the numbers. And these don't vary from month to month to month. If I had like all my numbers for this year, which I track for my entire hierarchy every year, these numbers don't vary, right? Now, let me just explain to you this notion. This does not mean that you have a 3% chance of doing 20,000 in a month, right? As well as this doesn't mean you have a 76.8% chance of doing less than 5,000. It's not a percentage chance of you individually being able to do it, okay? Why? Because do you think that the people that do 20,000 a month book more appointments than the people down here? They book more appointments than maybe people over here? Absolutely, right? Like just in general, if you look at the people here that usually do 20, they're booking 15 to 20 appointments a week. And this is, again, statistics. I've tracked these numbers for years and years and years. Exactly how many appointments booked per week on average to get 20,000 in a month, you're doing 15 to 20. Okay, here it's like maybe 12 to 15. Okay, 10 to 15, you're probably doing about 10 to 12, right? Down here, 5 to 10, you're probably doing, maybe 8 to 10, and down here you're definitely doing less than 10. You're probably booking 3 to 5 appointments a week. That's just roughly what the number suggests. So what this says, so what this tells me is that month to month to month to month, for years and years and years and years, that typically only about 3% of my hierarchy book 15 to 20 appointments a week. That's what that says. Now, if you want to book 15 to 20 appointments a week, you're probably going to get up in this category. But all I know is I don't know if you're going to do it, but I know the whole group of you, when I take you all as a total, I know that I'm going to get about 2 to 3%. Likewise here, I know that maybe 3 to 5% are going to book 12 to 15. Probably more like, here 5% did, but 7 to 9% are going to do 10 to 12. Like, it's not very many people, right? And then more people will do less appointments. More people. Do you see how this works? So I call this the pyramid of ambition. Everything works in a pyramid. It's just because human nature is statistically a pyramid when it comes to performance, when it comes to high performance, when it comes to income. Like, how many percentage of the population make low amount of money? Like, let's just say income below, 12,000 a year, right? Versus income up here of, 250,000. Well, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or statistical expert to know that there's going to be fewer at the top of the pyramid that make 250,000 or more than the people down here making 12,000 a year. Now, does everyone have a shot? Well, you can say that people, there's all kinds of economic prejudice in the world. People that start off with low education, parents that have low ambition, that transfer it to their kids. You'd say all that, but I could show you stories of the percentage that rise above their circumstance. It's always a percentage of people that rise above their circumstance. And then I can show you people that started off with all the advantages in the world, wealthy college-educated parents that had great jobs that became druggies and not making any money. They became, again, that's a percentage. But when you look at percentage of ambition, there's always more people at the top than at the bottom. That's what this reflects, human nature. Human nature is that there are more ambitious people than less ambitious people. So why is that important when it comes to building the business? Here's what I love about the business, is that you don't need to be any kind of leadership guru, right? You let Andy be the leadership guru. You let the system help and motivate your people. All you do is you invite people to the system. The reason why these numbers work is because our system works. Okay, now let me explain this just because I know how this works too. My whole Abuyuan hierarchy, large part of my business is Mike and Noel Leventovich and Patrick and Suzanne Connors, okay? So back in the day, and I still do this, I separate their numbers out. I separate these numbers out for Mike and these numbers out for Patrick. Okay, I calculate their percentages of all these categories. Now, let me explain, and those of you who know them, Mike Leventovich and Patrick Connors are two polar opposite on the leadership personality styles. Mike Leventovich is a taskmaster. He's one of those driver agency managers that will drive you into performance, that will work with you and really kind of sometimes cuss at you to get the best out of you. Patrick Connors is the cheerleader leader. He cheerleads you on to success, okay? Now, no one chooses their parents, right? So people get into business not knowing that Mike's like that or not knowing Patrick's like that. They just get into their business. And then the numbers fall out. Now, knowing that Mike is a real taskmaster, he's into training them hard and teaching them everything they need to do and knows all the products and just really instills that product. And the Leventovich team, those guys know what they're doing, right? It's not to say Patrick's team doesn't know what to do, but Patrick encourages people to go after the information. So he may not teach them, but he tells them how to get the information. He cheerleads them on, all right? So you would think, okay, so if I were a statistical analyst, my hypothesis would be that Mike's group would have a higher percentage of people in these categories than Patrick's. And Patrick's might have more people in this category than Mike. But do you know what? Their numbers are statistically the same. There's no statistical difference between their numbers. So what does that tell you? That tells you that Mike, with his leadership style, and Patrick, with his leadership style, do you know that all they did was find people, and then they put them into our system, and okay, so part of this as the leader is they promote the system, they edify Andy Albright, they point to Andy, they point to the system, they invite people to everything. Okay, we can't make you do anything, but we can invite everyone to the thing. So what does that sound like? It sounds like the sower who sows their seed, doesn't it? Mike and Patrick, they don't do a personality test to determine if that agent is fertile soil to grow a business. Okay, remember we're talking about the sower and the seed. They're not trying to pre-qualify them to see if they're fertile soil. So when they plant the seed of time, money, and emotion in them to invest in them, to invite them to the conference, they don't know if the seed's going to stick or not because they don't know if they're fertile soil. They just sow the seed. So sowing the seed in our business is finding people. And then the system is the one that determines if they're fertile soil or not. Does that make sense? The system will fertilize them, will put water, and they will determine whether they're rocky ground, right? If the seed of the NA opportunity is planted on rock, on shallow soil, or in the weeds, the people determine if they're fertile soil or not. All we do is sow the seed, then God grows the seed. That's the best analogy for this business. So you don't got to be some leadership guru. You don't got to be an expert in product. You just have to be good at finding people. And you don't even have to be good at finding people. You just find them, invite them into the system. Now, example has a lot to do with it as well. Okay, that helps with finding them. Like you being a good example because you're doing everything what you're inviting them to do. So that moral authority, where that affects this business is finding people. Because when you speak with some moral authority, okay, that when you invite someone to the function because you're going, right, that's more effective. You will build a huge organization when you are doing what you want your people to do. When you're reading books, you're promoting books. When you're on the TWC and you're promoting people to be on the TWC. Does that make sense? When you're attending hotspots and you're recommending they attend hotspots. When you're dialing the phone and booking appointments, okay, notice I didn't say results, okay, that you're making the attempt and trying to get the results. You can do the same thing for your people. Say, hey, look, I'm dialing. How about you? Okay. Now, remember, there's only about 3% every month that do over 20,000. So it's not a business saying, well, I did 20,000. I have the moral authority to find people that do 20,000. That's not how it works. I got people down here that are finding people that could do this. We've seen that. So it really, okay, it's not dependent on your production. Your production helps because then you have more ability to coach your people. But you know what? Your upline will help them. Okay, again, what I'm saying is the numbers will be the numbers. So you can push people. You can be a hard-ass motivator like Mike Krzyzewski or Nick Saban, or you can be a Tony Dungy who's a great motivator, right? It doesn't matter. Because your leadership style it's going to affect the right people in your group. Now, other things that help build your group faster than slower is your ability to relate to people and create relationships. Usually the people that have the largest business are the ones that have that ability to relate to all kinds of different people. Okay? That's kind of the X factor in terms of how big your group can get. But in terms of just letting the numbers work, you just find them, and the numbers, they'll fall into these categories. And then all the averages work. Do you understand me? So you tell me how much your agency did in total volume, and I'll tell you exactly within percentages, within less than 1%, how many apps that production represented, how many agents did that production, right? And I can tell you roughly how that production broke out. Do you see how statistical the business is? So why not build it? See, what I said in Cincinnati last night was this business is awesome because you are able to make millions of dollars by depending on human nature. People will be people. We had one of my buddies show the plan last night, and he said he was embarrassed had to work extra hard to make the trip for Hawaii. So he really put in a lot of work, and he's like right borderline. He said he was embarrassed about it. Well, I mean, it's okay to be embarrassed, but for me, his numbers were in there. He did 18,000. So he's in this category. Regardless of what his motivation was, and I didn't care if he was embarrassed or not, is that he was a statistic. Okay, so from my business manager unemotional perspective, and so don't take this emotionally wrong or personally, okay? So I'm setting this up. I could give a rat's butt what he did because I knew he was going to be a statistic. I, as the business manager, don't care about individually why they didn't do it. All I know is that out of 164 unique writing agents, the numbers went. And so I attach names to the people that have done it. But you know what? Next month, these names will be different. Out of these 5 people, there might be 3 that will be different. The 2 here will be down here, or even down here. But there could be all 5 different names. But I know there are going to be 5 if I have 164. Is that cool? Okay, now, I don't want to sound mean, but isn't it awesome in a business where you don't have to be emotional? Okay, now I wish everyone could be up here. If your needs need to be up here, I encourage you and I want to help you, I want to invest time in you. I hope that you're going to be one of these 5 next month or this month of January. Right? But if you're not, I am not crying because you're going to do what you do. Like, I can't motivate you. I can't call you on the phone every day and motivate you to dial the phone. You're going to do whatever you're going to do. I want you to do more. I want to encourage you and help you and motivate you. But you know what? I don't have to do a whole lot of that because the system will do that. All I really need to do is be there for you when you're on an appointment, answer your phone, help you close the deal. But you, at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, are going to determine where you're going to be and where you're going to land on here. My job's done after I've recruited you from the perspective of the numbers. My job's not done encouraging and helping you and uplifting you and inviting you. That's still my job, all right, because that's what makes the numbers possible. But I don't got to be like awesome at it. You know, I just got to be good enough to keep you in the business, and then you do what you do. So as far as building a business, you don't put all this pressure on yourself. The only pressure you need to put on yourself is going out there and finding them. The pressure you need to put on yourself is putting ads out there every week and finding people to talk to every week and then shoveling them up to me so I can close the deal for you and teach you how to bring people in. That's it. Right? That is it. So, gosh, what other point I was going to make on this? So let me see if anyone's got any questions. Someone chat at me with any questions. Let me unmute.
Hey, this is Bob.
Yeah, hey, Bob.
What you said, like 3% is the top number. What was the percentage of those that write over 10,000 total?
So what Bob was asking, this category, 10,000 and above, that's 10.4% that did over 10,000. 10.4% did over 10,000 and above. So that means 90% do 10,000 and below. It's like, whatever, I mean, so you got to build your business big enough so that it is statistically really it goes beyond you. It goes beyond you. It totally goes beyond you. And so here's another point. What do I need to do to increase my overall production and my income? Right? If these numbers are always the numbers, and if these statistics are always the statistics, what is the one simple thing I have to do to double my income this year? Okay? The answer ought to be obvious. I need to, instead of 164, I need 328 unique writing agents, right? I need to grow from 164 to 328. And then, whoa, that number is going to double, and I'm going to be making a ton more money. I will double my income. Does that make sense? Like, I can't beat production out of these people so that they move up. That's my point. I can't beat production out of them. I can't make these 20,000 because they're going to do what they do. I can't beat it out of them. Does that make sense? In fact, 2 of them did over 30,000. I'm not going to stop, promoting. It's great. You need to do as much as you need to do. You need to do as much as you can. You need to be a $30,000 producer. Okay? Seriously. Life changes. Your income problems will mostly go away. All the rest of your problems you can focus on. Right now, money is your issue, so all you do is focus on money problems when you have all the other problems festering. Why not solve the money problem and you can work on the other real problems that impact your life and happiness, all right? But what I need to do to double my income is I need to go from 164 to 328. Now, am I going to do that all myself? No. The key to building a business and doubling is I need to get more people finding more people that will fall into the categories. In other words, this is how my business doubles, is when I get 10 people doing this, 8 people doing this, 16 people doing this, 42 people doing this, and 252 people doing that. The only way that that falls out is if I get to 320 unique writing agents. The only way I can do that is I need you to build the business. Like if you've got 3 people, unique writing agents, for you to double, you need 6. If you've got 6, you need 12. If you've got 20, you need to get to 40. It's hard to do it yourself, but it's easier to do it. You can't do it all yourself, but you can do what you do. So if you doubled your recruiting numbers from 2 a week to 4 a week, and then you found 2 other people to go from 0 to 2 a week, right? That's how you grow the business. How you double is you find more people finding more people that will sell, recruit, and build. And you know what? Statistically, some will do it, some won't. Some will recruit, some won't. Some will come here and do 20,000. Some will do 5,000. Some will do 0 and quit. But statistically, they will do something. The key to growing production is recruiting. Art Williams has always said that with A.L. Williams. You don't beat production out of people. You promote production, but you don't beat production out of people. You promote working hard. You promote working 40 hours a week instead of 10, right? You say you're full-time. Are you really full-time? You promote that, and then these people figure it out that they need to work more. These people never figure it out, and they do less, and they quit. I don't care either way, because I know that if I find people, they're going to fill in these categories. Does that make sense? Oh, my gosh. This is the key. Get fired up. Man, get fired up. It doesn't depend on you being the master motivator. It depends on you just doing the work, picking up the phone, making dials, recruiting people, picking up the phone, making dials, booking appointments for selling. It's you plugging in the TWC, the activity calls, going to hotspot meetings, reading books, being accountable, commuting with positive mental attitude, buying a policy on yourself, right? I think I hit the 8 steps to success, right? It's you trying to be better. But and then you need to come to national conference. Okay, so the last minute of saying that stuff, here's what I know, is that statistically only a few of you are going to listen to that and do it, and more of you will not. And then you may not be around next month. But okay, so again, business analyst mode, unemotional. I don't care, because I'm replacing you, and I've got other agents that are replacing you. Do you see how that works? Okay, now I'm going back to my emotional, I care about you mode. I know, it's a little schizophrenic, but I care that you do it. I care about you and your family. I want you to do it, but I can't force you to do it. See, if I could force you to do it, then I could take the responsibility. but I can't force you to do anything. You do what you want to do. But the secret is, I already know what you're going to do as a group. You're going to do this. Oh, the truth shall set you free. The sower and the seed, man. Just be the sower. Just be the sower. And the alliance will determine if they're fertile ground, if they're growing up in the weeds, and the weeds will choke them. On shallow ground, the sun will burn them out. On rock, and the birds will come and eat them. Or the aliens will abduct them. You know, if you were going to update that story today, you know, there's a few reasons why people leave. You know, it's like alien abduction, right? Sex change operation, or witness protection program. Oh man, I guess that wasn't politically correct. I might cut that out of the video, but okay. So I'm going to open up. Any more questions here? Unmute.
All participants are muted.
Any questions? Any answers? It's cold out there. Let me see how cold it is. It's 2 degrees. No, it's 8 degrees in Dayton, Ohio. So we went up 6 degrees since this morning. Anyway, gang, I'm going to mute everybody.
All participants are muted. You can unmute them.
God bless you. I hope you understand the spirit of this is that you can do this because you let the numbers work for you. And then, man, just let the business grow your business, right? Let the business, let the alliance and the whole system determine if you've found fertile soil in someone that you can plant the seed of time, money, emotion in them. And I'll tell you what, I found a few. You only need a few, by the way. How many do you really need to go EVP? You need 6 in width, or it could be 6 in depth in your width. You just need one good person that catches fire. Out of all the people you recruit, all you need are 6 in width or 6 in depth in your width, 6 individual legs of a person who wants this as bad, if not worse than you. And they'll stay in and do this whether you do it or not. Awesome. All right, gang. God bless. I hope this helped. Take care.
This session is